Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel Megha Discourse. Hope you all are doing good for your paper. So in this video, we are going to do some questions from word literature and hope these questions will help you. So it will gonna be a question series for you. So here we are going to solve these questions. This is your question number 1. So before solving all the questions, let me say first thing that we are going to have a look on all the 4 options. Why the right one is right and other are wrong, okay? Because sometimes they can ask questions from different options as well. So be aware, have your notebook, make your notes, okay? And let's have the first question. Who authored the 1952 post-colonial text, Black Skin, White Mask? Now you will say this is very easy question and it was written by French Fanon. This is our right answer. Let's have some facts regarding this question and other all options, okay? So look, Black Skin, White Mask. It was published in 1952. So this is your first fact. And French Fanon, sometimes they ask about the nationality, as you know in our previous paper. So he belongs to Martinique region. Okay, so second fact is he is a Martinique writer. Okay, and another thing is that he is related to psychoanalytic theory or psychoanalytic criticism. This work, it is based on political philosophy thinking. Okay, so you can say the genre of this work is political philosophy. So this work is your political philosophy. Okay, now what is important in this work? Why this work is very famous? So let us break the term black skin. So it is based on colonialism, and white mask, that means their cruelty, their aggressiveness, their argumentative behavior. He examines how colonialism creates psychoanalytic crisis in the person, in the people of the Caribbean world or other this world. Okay? And he explains the inferiority complex having in the people of this colonized nation, because it is in their mind that black skin people, they carry white values, and that's why they are feeling inferiority. Like they are saying, we are black, okay, so we should follow our culture. But because they are colonized under white persons, so they are inheriting or they are adapting their culture, or that's why they have black skin but white values, and that is the reason of their inferiority complex. So basically in this work, French Fanon, he explained inferiority complex of colonized people. Okay, so this is about your right answer. Now, what about Ngugi wa Thiong'o? So Ngugi wa Thiong'o, he is famous for Devils on the Mine, Petals of Blood, you know very well. And the important thing about Ngugi is that he broke the tradition. He stopped writing in English language and wrote in Gikyu language, the native language. And he said that our culture is more important than any other species. Then we have Richard Wright. Richard Wright is famous for Native Son, who wrote it in 1940. Okay, so you should know that he wrote Native Son in 1940, and this is the most important work written by Richard Wright, and this is your PYQ. Next, we have Martin Luther King Jr. The famous book he wrote is Why We Can't Wait. Okay, so this is We Can't Wait. So have a look on this book. Now, the important fact is that French Fanon is related to, he was inspired by Ngugi wa Thiong'o and Ames Isaiah, who popularized negritude movement. Okay, so this can be asked about French Fanon. The another famous work he wrote, The Raised of the Earth in 1960, which is again on anti-colonial revolution. Okay, so this is all about our first question. Hope you like this approach. Okay, now let's move to our next question. Now the next question we have the celebrated post-colonial essay, The Muse of the History. This is important one. It was penned by, the answer is Derek Walcott, and it was published in 1974. And Derek Walcott, he got Nobel Prize in 1992. Okay, yes. And what is beautiful and amazing about this work, The Muse of History? This is a part of collection is Massa de Dat. So this is actually the name of collection, and it was published in 1974 in this collection.
And this work is actually written in a rebellious, or you can say it is a staunch answer to Kamau Braithwaite. Kamau Braithwaite, he is another writer. He also wrote on Caribbean identity. But the difference between Derek Walcott and Kamau Braithwaite, they were talking about the Caribbean identity, but their mindset is different. Their perspective is different. Where Derek Walcott says why we are focusing on British rules, why we are focusing on white culture. We have our own culture. We can adapt our own culture. We can nurse ourselves with our own culture. Why we need to focus on white people? Why we need to focus on like French men? Okay. He also talks about inferiority complex. He says that we should focus on our landscape, because in our landscape there's so much wonder. There's so much amazing things. On the other hand, the writer Kamau, Braithwaite, he says that which is the main reason of our debate between Derek and Kamau, is that he says that Caribbean identity must reconnect with Africa. In the book The Arrivants, he said that. And in response, Derek Walcott, he wrote The Muse of History. That why we need to focus on another one. Then we have our culture. In that culture, we have wonder, we have amazing thing, we have language, we have linguistics, we have rhythmic voice, we have rhythmic pattern, vocab, culture. Why need to focus on that colonizers? So this is the fight between Derek and Kamau on so far as Caribbean identity is concerned. Now you can remember two works, The Muse of History and The Arrivants. Now the Arrivants, it is a trilogy actually. Okay, so we will cover the next one. So now let's have another option. First we have Ngugi wa Thiong'o, famously wrote I Will Marry When I Want. Okay, so this is a famous one related to the Muse of History. Somehow it has similar theme like identity perspective, culture perspective. Okay, similarly we have Chinua Achebe. Now there is also a difference, or you can say the debate between Chinua Achebe and Conrad, okay, who wrote The Heart of Darkness, the basis of community. African community, the African culture. Like Joseph Conrad, he wrote Heart of Darkness about the relation between colonize and colonialism. Okay. Similarly, Chinua Achebe, he was against that. He wrote in the work An Image of Africa. This is the important work. Just keep this work in your mind, An Image of Africa. Okay. So in this work, he wrote against Joseph Conrad, or you can say this is a reply to Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. Okay, that why African identity is important, why African culture is important. Similarly, they have somehow rebel theme in the works, that why he wrote against colonialism and why he inspire or aspire or admire colonizer. Okay, now and again next we have Wilson Harris. So Wilson Harris, he is famously known for Palace of the Peacock. This is the important work written by Wilson. This is Palace of Peacock. Okay. And this is the part of Guiana Quartet. Like trilogy, this is quartet part. Okay. This is a famous one in your PYQ, Wilson Harris. And his nationality is, he belongs to Guiana. And okay. So this is all about your question number 2. And your right answer is this, Derek Walcott. Okay. So this is not your right answer. Do not get confused. Okay. Now let's move to the next question. Now third question we have, which writer authored an essay titled Conrad Darkness? Okay. Praising Conrad for his portrayal of the world's half-made society. Now look, that is your different PYQ and that is your another PYQ. Okay. Now these are your PYQs. Okay. I have assimilated it from different sites. Now Heart of Darkness written by Conrad, and he explained about colonialism, post-colonialism in this work. This work is praised by V.S. Naipaul. He is again a post-colonial writer. He got Nobel Prize in 2001. Okay. And he wrote this line, that half-made society. This is the remark given by V.S. Naipaul on the Conrad work. And he gave this remark in The Return of Eva Peron. Okay. Sorry. It was written in 1980. Okay, so in this work, he remarked that Conrad Darkness, it is half-made societies. And what is this meaning? Half-made society means that post-colonial nations, they are struggling to get stability and social identity. So this is the meaning half-made societies. But on the other hand, I told you, Chinua Achebe, he gives negative remark to the Conrad Darkness in An Image of Africa. Okay, so keep this thing in mind that V.S. Naipaul, he has given positive outlook. Chinua Achebe, he give negative outlook to this work. And An Image of Africa is written in 1977, as I told you. Okay, so this is V.S. Naipaul and Chinua Achebe. There is a major tension between these two famous writers. Next, we have Salman Rushdie, who is known for magic realism. He wrote Satanic Verses, Grimace is a debut work, okay, The Knife, and a lot of work, Midnight Children. Ngugi wa Thiong'o, that he wrote Devils on the Cross, Petal of Blood, and I Will Marry When I Want. So these are three important works. Till now, we have read about Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Okay. So the next we have the phrase "things fall apart" is borrowed from a poem written by. Easiest question, is it borrowed from W.B. Yeats? And the poem name is The Second Coming. Okay. So this is The Second Coming, written by W.B. Yeats in 1919. And the line is, "Things fall apart, the center cannot hold." Okay, so this is a line. Now, what is important? Why he borrowed this title? The biggest question is, because as W.B. Yeats, he wrote in The Second Coming about the westernization. He was imagining the Western world. Similarly, in ironic way, Chinua Achebe in Things Fall Apart, he was ironizing Western culture. And he explained exactly that our culture, our Igbo community is on destruction. It is on devastation because of British colonialism, because of Western post-colonial mindset. And he contrasts that. On the other hand, W.B. Yeats, he was imagining that there should be one Western world, okay, in an apocalyptic way. Similarly, he said that it is as catastrophic as apocalyptic. Okay, so this is why he borrowed this title from W.B. Yeats, The Second Coming. Okay, another we have Ted Hughes. He wrote Birthday Letter. We have W.H. Auden, who wrote The Age of Anxiety. Similar work. Okay, I'm not telling you the random works. I'm telling you about the similar works having the similar theme. Okay, so W.H. Auden, he wrote The Age of Anxiety. This work will have similar theme. Again, we have Robert Lowell. He wrote Life and Studies. Okay, so when you make notes by yourself, it will help you a lot. Okay, again, I always says, make your notes on your own. So it will help you to remember things better. And now the paper is very near. So I have watched a lot of videos on our YouTube that paper can be postponed. There is a fight between different tutors and so many things. So please, it's my humble request to you all, move away from these kind of topics. Whenever the UGC NET will conduct the paper, you have to focus on your syllabus. You have to complete your syllabus and it will be beneficial for you if you get more time. Okay, so this is my humble request to you all. Please be focused on your syllabus. And now this is the time for your revision. So revise your notes more and more, multiple times. Okay, so now the next question we have, character Topsy features in which of the following texts? This character is important. You will find in most of your literature works, exams. So this character, it is from Uncle Tom's Cabin. Let's have a look on the facts related to this work. Now, Topsy, she is actually an enslaved child. Okay, and this work is written by Harriet Beecher Stowe. She got fame after this work, and this was published in 18. Okay, now what is special about this work, Uncle Tom's Cabin? Now this cabin, this means enslavement. The crux of this work is that this girl, Topsy, she is enslaved. So it is said that she had no mother, she was never born. It means that slavery strips her identity. The impact of slavery can be directly seen that how brutal the slavery was at that time, that a child, all the rights was taken from the child, that she had no mother, the child had no identity, that she was born. I am just giving you the idea. Now, Harriet Steve Roach. Now, she is related to American abolition movement. Okay, I have made a video on history of American literature like British literature. You can go through that video, watch that video. You will find all the movements associated with American literature. This video will help you to solve American literature question. Here you will get all the movements, major writers, how they associate with that movement. So the background of American literature, it will clear. Okay, so must watch that video on American literature. Now, the important fact about this work is that Abraham Lincoln, after reading this work, he said that the little girl who wrote this work, she started the Great War of Slave Movement. Okay, so after reading this work, Abraham Lincoln, Toni Morrison, Frederick Douglass, they all admired this work and they all propounded the movement related to enslavement movement, slave movement. Okay, and they wrote on these movements. Similar, like Frederick Douglass, he wrote a work that what to slave is 4th of July, and that was the Independence Day of America. So he wrote against that book, and he was the forerunner of African American protest literature. Okay, similarly to Toni Morrison, she wrote Beloved, Paradise, Bluest Eye, Sula, after reading these works. Okay, so this is how one writer is admired by so many persons. Now another, we have Walden, Tom Sawyer, History of United States. So you just have a look on this text, like Thoreau, Mark Twain. Okay, now next we have, which of the following writers was never awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature? So just keep this in your mind, that read the question carefully before attempting any question in hurry. You said, I know about this question, so please always read the statement carefully. Now he was asking about actually never awarded. So first we have Chinua Achebe. Okay, so this is our answer. Chinua Achebe never got Nobel Prize in Literature. He is the father of African literature, but still he did not get any Nobel Prize in Literature. Now we have Hol Senka, got Nobel Prize in 1986. Okay, then we have G.M. Coetzee, got Nobel Prize in 2003. Okay, and he wrote famous work like Disgrace, Waiting for Barbarians. Then we have Nadim Gordimer, got Nobel Prize in 1991. You should know about this work. I told you in the video how to make notes, that there are some writers, you need to study them in cluster, and those writers like who got Nobel Prize, who got Sahitya Academy Award. So make a list accordingly and have a look on that writer. Read those works which are famous for those writers specially, because all 4 writers are important here. Okay, they like 3 will get Nobel Prize and 1 is not get Nobel Prize, but still he was father of African literature. Now the next question we have question number 7. In Walcott's Dream on Monkey Mountain, this is important work written by Derek Walcott. Okay, and it was asked many times in paper, not only in UGC NET but in your assistant professor paper, where Derek Walcott is in your syllabus. What does Macaque, this is our main character from this work, believe will bring freedom to his people? Okay, so this is again on national identity, culture conflict. Now the answer is through a decolonization of mind, like accumulation of wealth. If you focus on this work and if you focus on the writer's mindset, like Derek Walcott, he always wrote on Caribbean identity. So accumulation of wealth is not, armed struggle is not. Yes, black power politics and decolonization of mind, they can 50-50. So our right answer is decolonization of the mind. Now Macaque, there is a person, he is a poor charcoal burner. Okay, and one day he dreamt of a goddess and he said that I want to bring my people back and I want to free them from the mindset. So Derek Walcott, through this work, he wants to say that people are colonized because of their mind. They are not colonized by colonizer. They are colonized by their mindset. Like he said that why we are focusing on the rituals and cultures on white people, we should focus on our culture. We should focus on our rituals, because in Caribbean identity, in Caribbean culture, there's a lot of wonder. He said in this work. Okay, still he said we are decolonizing ourselves. We are decolonizing because of a lot of thinking what colonizer will do to us. They will punish us. They will be more arrogant on us. They will be cruel on us. And that's why we are decolonizing ourselves. So this is the crux of this dream on Monkey Mountain. And you can say here, you can comparison Derek Walcott to French Fanon and Ngugi wa Thiong'o ideas, similar ideas related to that person. So you can say here that freedom is not achieved through violence and movements. Okay, so alone, he means to say that they cannot be achieved alone through movements, through violence, but you can achieve all these things by liberating your mind from colonial conditioning. Okay, so this is your answer of question number 7. Okay, now next we have the pair of following authors in their respective works. First we have Buchi Imechta, Amata Aidu, Nadim Gordimer, Ngugi wa Thiong'o. These are 4. Then we have Burger's daughter, Joy of Motherhood, Devils on the Cross, and Our Sister Killjoy. Okay, so this was not arranged properly. Let me make it easy for you. So first we have Buchi. Buchi, she is known for the work Joys of Motherhood. So our first option is have option 2. Okay, so Buchi Mencheta, she is known for, so this one is this. Okay, let me make it a little bit clear. So first we have Buchi, and she is known for Joy of Motherhood. And in this Joy of Motherhood, it was published in 1979. It explored how motherhood become burden rather than enjoyment for a woman in this patriarchal society, because a mother, she gave birth to a child, she have to do house chores, and she have to manage a lot of things in patriarchal society, and still is the place of a woman in our patriarchal society. So that's why she wrote in the Joy of Motherhood that it is ironic that yes, this is Joy of Motherhood, but exactly we cannot enjoy motherhood in patriarchal society. The next we have Ama Ata Aidu. She wrote Our Sister's Killjoy, and it was written in 1977. Ama Ata Aidu, she is Ghanaian writer. So this is about a feminist experience, that how a woman, she is experiencing some unexpected thing in Europe. Okay, and her critique on Western values. So next we have Nadim Godimer. He wrote Burger's Daughter. Nadim Godimer wrote Burger's Daughter. Okay, so here we have second option is 4, and third option we have 1. Okay, so Nadim Godimer, it is Burger's Daughter. Now in Burger's Daughter, which was again published in 1979, okay, and in this work, it is about the main character is Rosa Burger. Okay, so it's like Bugir. So Rosa Burger, she's our main central character. She is daughter of an anti-apartheid activist. Okay, so the whole story revolves around that apartheid movement and how she involves with her parents. Next, we have Ngugi wa Thiong'o, and we read that Devil on the Cross. This is the work written by, so fourth we have 3. So our answer should be 2, 4, 1, 3, this. Okay. Now, the important thing is that about on Devil on the Cross, that it was the first work written in Gikyu language. This is not the debut work, but this is the first work written in Gikyu language. Okay. So Buchi, she wrote Joy of Motherhood. Ama Ata Aidu wrote Our Sister Killjoy. Nadim Godimer wrote Devil on the Cross, and Nadim Godimer wrote Burger's Daughter, and Ngugi wa Thiong'o wrote Devil on the Cross. Okay, next we have match the following dramatists with their plays. Now there are so many writers who wrote, there are 4 writers who wrote these plays, so let's have a look. First we have Langston Hughes, Lauren Hansberry, Ed Bleen, and Amiri Baraka. So these are 4 writers, and the works are Dutchman, Clara's Old Man, Don't You Want to Be Free, and Risen in the Sun. So let's have a look on all the works. So first we have Langston Hughes. As you know, he is associated with Harlem Renaissance. He's propounded this movement, and he wrote the work Don't You Want to Be Free? Because he's associated with Harlem Renaissance, he wrote for Afro-American identity. So this is the work written by Langston Hughes, and it was published in 1938. Okay, so in this play, he blends poetry and drama to talk about Black identity. Okay, next we have Lauren Hansberry. He wrote Risen in the Sun. It was published in 1950. So this is the first play written by a Black woman. And you know what? That the title of Risen in the Sun is taken from the poem written by Langston Hughes. So Langston Hughes, he wrote Risen in the Sun, a poem, and Lauren Hansberry, she borrowed the title Risen in the Sun from that poem. Okay, so do not get confused over the title. It explored the Black identity, and the family is written in Chicago, and exactly the name of the poem is Harlem, Risen in the Sun. Okay, so this is the name of your poem. Ed Bleen, famous for Clara's Old Man. It is again on Black art movement, published in 1965, and it is known for realistic presentation of realistic urban life. Next we have Amiri Baraka wrote Dutchman. Okay, and it was published in 1964. It is a 1-act play, and it is based on racial tension in New York. And this work, this got OBA award. Okay, so this is all about your question number 9. So first we have Langston Hughes. Option 3. Then we have Lauren Hansberry wrote Raising in Sun, that is 4, and how this question solved. Okay, so have a look on all the works. So next question we have Toni Morrison, Playing in the Dark. This is a work written by Toni Morrison. It is actually a cultural essay. Okay, and it was published in 1992. And Toni Morrison, this essay, it is a collection of reflections. So first, this is actually his lecture. Sorry, this is actually her collection of lectures which she has given in Howard University. And it is based on Black African folklore tradition. And Toni Morrison, she got Nobel Prize in 1991. So just keep this thing in your mind. Now, in this work, she was telling about African American presence, and she called it Africanist presence. Okay, so it is Africanist presence. Let me write it properly. So this is Africanist presence. Okay, and she says that how Black marginal, like the Black character in the works, they were absent or marginalized in the works. The monopoly of white persons, or white, or you can say colonizers, that they chose a character which is Black, or they chose a colonized character, and they put them on the marginalized section, that it was ignored throughout the play. So this is the meaning of this Africanist presence. Okay, now the next we have, in which work does the narrator declare either I am nobody or I am the nation? So this is the line written by Derek Walcott in the work The Schooner Fight. Okay, so this is the poem, and it was published in the Star Kingdom, and it was published in 1970. Okay, now what is special about this work? Either I am nobody or I am the nation. So in this work, again, Derek Walcott, he has the same thing. Like, our culture is important. We should focus on our culture. This is a narrative poetry, and it is full of dramatic monologue. Okay, just keep this thing in mind. It is full of dramatic monologue. Shabim is the main character in this work, and he is through Shabim he is saying this line, and he said that I have seen the pain of colonized people. Okay, and we have a good culture by God's grace, and we should write with help of our culture, because we have a lyrical and rhythmic words, we have patterns. So he includes all these features in this Schooner Flight. Okay, he used a native language in this work. This work followed unique voice because of dramatic monologue. Okay, so this is all important fact about this work. Now, what is about George Lamming's In the Castle of My Skin? So this is the novel. First thing is that, and it was published in 1953. The main character is Z is the main character. It is actually based on, it is actually blending of lyrical prose and semi-autobiographical novel. And you will find here the theme of colonization, and during 1930s, 1940s of Barbados Kingdom. Okay. Then we have Jamaica Kincaid Girl. This is a short story written by Jamaica Kincaid. This is very important. I have also made a video on short story, top short story writer. So go and have a look on that video as well. And at this point, as that you have learned a new work, that is Jamaica Kincaid Girl. This is again your short story. This work, it tells you about the womanhood. This work tells you about the social expectations. This is full of monologue, that how a mother is giving instruction to the daughter. Okay, and it was published in the collection Bottom of the World. So this is the name of collection where this short story was published. Major short story was published in collection, so you should know about some collections. Then we have Kamau Braithwaite, Nation Language. He is the same person to whom Derek Walcott argues on Caribbean identity. First, we have read the work. The Arrivants. Now, another work we have, Nation Language. It is actually the phrase he used, nation language, and this concept was used in History of Voice, the development of nation. So this is the name of work, History of Voice. Okay, in this work he coined this phrase, nation language. Next question we have, during the courtroom scene of Their Eyes Were Watching God, written by Zora Neale Hutchinson, who is related to Harlem Renaissance, whose narrative voice dominates. Now, it is 50-50. Tea's Cake voice and Phoebe voice. They are not our answer. 50-50 answer is Janie's first person voice and omniscient third person voice. Now, those who wrote the text, those who read the text, they will say, ma'am, this is Jenny's first person voice. But our answer is the omniscient third person voice, because whatever Jenny is thinking inside the mind, it was presented by omniscient third person voice. So it is not the alter ego of Jenny, but you can say omniscient narrator, he is so empathetic to Jenny that he presents his inner thought. Okay, so this is the voice which dominates throughout the work. Narrator is our separate observer, and this work was published in 1930. And the related fact is that we have Richard Wright, as we know, who wrote Native Son. He said that this work is a biggest failure. Why? The reason is that he criticized this work because this work lacks political anger. And after this remark, she was getting a lot of hate. But later on, there are many writers like Toni Morrison and all. They support Zora Neale Hutchison over this work. Okay. Next we have, which of the following novel is set against the backdrop of Biafran War? This is the easiest question. And answer is Half of a Yellow Sun. July's People, it was written by Nadim and it was published in 1981. It is on racism and it is a South African novel. Then we have Waiting for Barbarians. It is written by J.M. Coetzee in 1980. It is on abuse of Harvard. Then we have Arrow of God, written by Chinua Achebe. It is a part of trilogy and written in 1964. So Half of a Yellow Sun, the setting is Biafran War. It was written by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. So this work got Orange Prize. Okay, we have the main character Olana here. She's the central character. This work, in Half of a Yellow Sun, the writer explains that half of person died because of starvation. Okay, and this is, you can say, again, the drastic effect of colonization can be seen in this work. Next we have, who is the central protagonist of Nuruddin Farah novel Maps? So the central character is Aska. Okay, now what is good in this character? So again, we have the Topsy, Aska, Z, and many characters we have read like Olana. Okay, so Maps, this is the part of trilogy. Okay, and the name of trilogy, this is the part of trilogy, Blood in the Sun. Okay, now this work was published in 1977. Now Aska, his character, he was in search of identity. He was in search of self-discovery. He wants to find out his own identity. How political and historical thing destroyed the Somalia sense of being alive. So the background of this novel, Maps, it was in Somalia-Ethiopian war. Okay, and Aska, he created his own map that one day I will meet my own people. Okay. So this map is symbolic to political and colonized people. So here, Nuruddin Farah, he blends magic realism and stream of consciousness. So this work blends magic realism and stream of consciousness. And that's why he was compared to Gabriel Marcuse and Joseph Conrad. Okay. Next we have, which statement about Derek Walcott poetry is incorrect? Again, read the statement carefully. Incorrect is that, first, his poem Goats and Monkeys carries an epigraph taken from Shakespeare Othello. Yes, this is right statement. Now I'll tell you why, the fact behind that. In Shakespeare Othello, Iago, he is a white person from Vatican City, and he has jealousy to Othello because he belongs to Moor community, is a black person. So racism can be seen in the work Othello. So he used animalistic language on the relationship of Othello and Desdemona. And that's why he intrigued. Okay. Now, in the Goats and Monkey, similar theme can be seen. Black man dealing with the society, okay, which is based on prejudice. So here, Goats and Monkeys is the same role played by Iago and Othello in the Shakespeare. Now, the Sadhu of Kova, reference to Diwali Hanuman Ramayana. Yes, this is again written by Derek Walcott, and this work finds blend of Indian mythology, because here it is based on Sevadas Sadhu, who wrote Temple in the Sea in Kova region. He made a temple there, and on that there is a temple in sea, and on this thing, the Sadhu of Kova is written by Derek Walcott. He was highly admired Indian mythology in this work. Next we have Walcott authored a poem titled Jean Rice. Yes, he was highly inspired by Jean Rice, especially Wild Sargasso Sea. So it is not a biographical work, but he explained some important feature about genres and writing style. In A Far Cry from Africa, Walcott, so these statements are correct. Now, what about fourth one? In A Far Cry from Africa, Walcott depicts his divided loyalties in the context of Chaguna uprising. So, A Far Cry from Africa is written by Frederick Walcott, yes, but it is not on Changuna uprising, it is on Mo uprising, okay? And it was published in 1962. So, this is your answer. And your homework is that, what is the name of collection in which A Far Cry from Africa published? So, you have to tell me about the collection name, okay, in your comment section. Next, we have which African novelist pursued studies in philosophy and literature in India? It is none other than Nuruddin Farah. Okay, so he was studied at Punjab University, which is located in Chandigarh. After studying in philosophy, his interest in writing and in literature, it was developed, and he wrote the work accordingly. And his most famous work, like we have Sweet and Sour Milk. Okay, so this is an important work, like we have read, then we read Maps, again is on trilogy. Okay, now there's a Ben Okri, he is a Nigerian poet. He is famous for The Famished Road, for which he got Booker Prize in 1990 for The Famished Road. Then we have Alon Habila. He's a poet, novelist, storyteller. He was famous for Waiting for an Angel, and it was his a debut work written in 2002. Then we have Benjamin Koge. He is a Ghanaian novelist, and he wrote The Cloth of Nakedness. Okay, so this is about question number 16. Ngugi wa Thiong'o abandoned English and began writing in which language? It is in Gikyu language. Okay, and then what is the reason behind Gikyu language? In 1977, he was imprisoned by Kenyan government without any trial. And after that incident, he said, I will not write in their native language, in English language anymore. Now I will write in my local language, in my native language, that is in Gikyu language. And he wrote in prison, Devil on the Cross. We wrote it actually on toilet paper. This is the first work written by Ngugi wa Thiong'o in Gikyu language. Right, in Yoruba language, Holsoinka wrote in Yoruba language. In Hosa language, there is a famous writer, A.C. Jordan. He wrote in Hosa language. Okay, and it was in South African language. Then we have Swahili language. The father of Swahili literature is Shaban Robert. Okay, is Shaban Robert. Just keep this thing in your mind. Okay, next we have which of the Nuruddin Farah novels engage with the theme of foreign aid and dependency? I've read about it is based on political and historical scenario. So this is not our answer. Secrets, links are not our answer. Our answer is gift. Now gift, it is symbolic. Nuruddin Farah, he is a symbolist writer. He wrote on symbolic theme. General fact is that we are receiving gifts, we are giving gifts. So he said that the receiving and giving gift is symbolic to act of dependency in a relationship. Okay, and this is not good for individual. So here is a main character, that is Dunya. This is the name of character, Dunya. Her character is very, can say, energetic. She is based on self-reliance, that I will do whatever I can do. She is based on individualism. She did not receive any gift, and she did not give any gift in this work. Through this act, he wants to say that she does not like to take a help of any other person. She is mother of 3 children. She is a widow. Okay, and that's why she thought, no, I will do whatever I can so that my children will learn this fact. They will not depend on anyone. Okay, we have read Map, Gift. So Gift, Map, and another work is Secret. So all the 3 are part of trilogy Blood in the Sun. Okay, next we have Links is also written by Nuruddin Farah. In Kudzi Disgrace, the opera that David Lurie is composing is based on the life of which romantic poet? Now, David Lurie, you can say the alter ego of Lord Byron. G.M. Kudzi in Disgrace, he presents Lord Byron as David Lurie. David Lurie, he is a professor of English language. He is rebellious like Lord Byron. Now, why he focuses and why he chose Byron and David Lurie similarity? He presents that Byron, he was a good writer. He is a rebellious poet. He is the most rebellious and arrogant poet. And he had to leave his, you can say, home due to scandal and due to claimed
on him. Similarly, happened with David Leary. Okay, and he recalls his failure. Like Lord Byron, he recalls the misunderstanding that happened with him. Okay, so this is a similarity between our both writer, and he said that he is a misunderstood writer of Romantic era. Now, the last question is, which writer is best known for recreating the life of Igbo community in the fiction? And you know very well, this is none other than Chinua Achebe. Like our whole Soyinka presents Yoruba tribe. Okay, Derek Volko native, again native community. Okay, so this is your question number 20, and this is related to Igbo community. This is related to post-colonial realism. He wrote trilogy in which we have Things Fall Apart, An Arrow of God, and No Longer at Ease. Okay, so this is all about your 20 questions. We have many questions to do, but I think these questions are enough for you. So make your notes, prepare all these questions, and if you have any query regarding your preparation, regarding anything, not only UGC NET but any preparation, you can WhatsApp us, you can join our Telegram channel, you can connect us on Telegram, on Facebook. Okay, so this is all about our today's lecture. Hope you all are doing good. Again, I am saying this is the time. This is a very crucial time and important time. So focus on your studies instead of any another matter. Okay, bye-bye.